Ever since the murder of George Floyd, the topic of racism is more important than ever. So that's why I have been trying to listen to both sides of the political spectrum, from Candace Owens to Dave Chappelle, who recently came out with a new show, 846, the number of minutes George Floyd had a knee on his neck.
After they saw a police officer kneel on a man's neck for 8 minutes and 46 seconds. I can't get that number out of my head because it was my time of birth on my birth certificate.
Recently, I have found myself to be more conservative, and there is this narrative that if you aren't a Democrat, that you are somehow a racist. Mind you, Joe Biden was anti-busing and has a history of saying racist comments. Anyone, anywhere, and anytime can be racist. Freelee recently made a video about why she doesn't support Black Lives Matter, so I guess this is my quote-unquote radical right-wing response.
Because I've seen a lot of people on social media who have just been posting because they have felt intimidated and bullied, and they're not being authentic and genuine, and that makes me sad. I'm never going to be bullied into posting what you want me to post, like a lot of the vegan pages were. I just see these black squares and people, I just know they're not being authentic.
You're not doing me or anybody in the black community any favors by posting an all-black post and hashtagging Black Lives Matter.
I didn't post anything on Tuesday because I thought that was the whole point. On Wednesday, however, I did repost this meme by PragerU, which stirred up a bit of commotion. But take a step back and think about this critically. Does posting a black square on Instagram really do anything for black rights? Or do black leaders who try to establish a positive relationship with their local police department do more? The mainstream media and social media create a mob-like mentality. If you see someone who didn't post a black square, they are somehow racist.
You know, and I built this platform. This is a platform people come to hear me speak, not just get distracted by what's in the comments. I want you to actually hear what I'm saying, hear what Candace is saying, and not be distracted by the steaming shit in the comments. And by all means, you have freedom to upload a video response. Do it.
And that is exactly what I'm doing. People love to talk about freedom of speech, yet the second you have a different thought or opinion, you are shut down. As Evelyn Beatrice Hall once said, "I do not agree with what you have to say, but I'll defend to the death your right to say it."
They're dividing us through this mainstream narrative, and then they're conquering us. And who are they? That's what I want you to research and educate yourself. Who's behind the curtain?
Oh, pay no attention to that man behind the curtain.
With these big banks, the elite minority. Look into the families behind this. Look into the history.
And this is where I start to get lost. It's like Charles Marlowe 2.0. Aboliciel did a great response to this particular part of the video. Freelee has been into some pretty strange trends, and it stands to reason why she would believe in some very wild Freemason Illuminati conspiracy theories. It comes down to debt. Because of history's racism, whites have been able to take out more loans and therefore prosper financially.
Why? Sure, humans are animals, but these human animals are oppressing these non-human animals. That's what veganism is about. That's what we're trying to stop. People are fighting like crazy. Vegans are fighting amongst themselves. They're not talking about veganism anymore. Exactly what the meat and dairy industry wants, isn't it? Think about it.
Just because you care about politics or race doesn't mean that you don't care about veganism. In many ways, veganism is political. I dare you to get outside of your tunnel vision. If people are animals, we should care about them just as equally. And for the record, vegans who like to compare animal cruelty to slavery or the Holocaust are being extremely offensive to blacks and Jews.
Statistics show that the most violence isn't happening from white cops to black individuals. It's actually happening black on black. So it's just not backed up by statistics. This reaction, this media hysteria.
Systemic racism is a highly controversial topic, but numbers don't lie.
know what they would say.
Yeah.
I'm talking about what the facts are. 965 people were shot by cops last year and killed. 4% of them were white cops shooting unarmed blacks. In Chicago in 2011, 21 people were shot and killed by cops. In 2015, there were 7. In Chicago, which is a third black, a third white, and a third Hispanic, 70% of the homicides are black on black. About 40 per month, almost 500 per year last year in Chicago, and 75% of them are unsolved. Where is the Black Lives Matter on that? The idea that a racist white cop and shooting unarmed black people is a peril to black people is BS. It's complete and total BS. And the reason for these so-called activists saying this is the assumption that racism remains a major problem in America. The media, CNN, especially MSNBC, runs down whenever a black cop shoots somebody, and it's some march on Washington. It's ridiculous. Black people, half the homicides in this country are committed by and against black people. Last year there were 14,000 homicides. Not talking about suicides, I'm talking about homicides. Half of them were black, 96% of them black on black of that 7,000. Where's the Black Lives Matter people on that? Just the facts. I'll tell you something else too. There was just a study, University of Washington, and it turns out cops were more reluctant, more hesitant to pull the trigger against a black suspect than a white suspect. Probably because of the fear of being accused of racially profiling and the fear that the civil rights establishment was going to come down on them. So if anything, whites are more likely to be shot by a cop under certain circumstances than a black person. And in the last 30 or 40 years, the percentage of suspects killed by cops who are black has declined 75%. However, the percentage of whites killed by cops has flatlined.
Why are people offended by these statistics? Shouldn't we be at least somewhat relieved that these numbers actually, in fact, debunk racism? Oh, that's right, because it doesn't fit the racist narrative. Recently, Rayshard Brooks was shot by the police. Everyone wants to turn what had to be done by police enforcement into racism. The guy was literally drunk and asleep at the wheel in a Wendy's drive-thru. What started as a simple and standard DUI arrest escalated.
Sir,
Called in by a third
You right?
party, see a black Toyota Camry in an unknown.
dude, you're parked. You're sitting in the drive-through line here.
Blah, 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 blah. Stop. Very good.
I just had a few drinks, that's it.
How many?
1.5. Like I said, I was into the second cup. I told her, babe, let's go, because I'm hungry.
What kind of drinks did you have?
I'm not sure. It's something she ordered. She said top shelf or whatever.
Right.
Just take me home. I'm ready to go.
So you had about 1.5 drinks. You don't remember what kind of drinks they were?
No, sir.
All right.
I really don't, Mr. Ross.
All right. I think you've had too much to drink to be driving. Put your hands behind your back for me. Here, put your hands behind your back.
I don't care if you are black, white, yellow, blue, green, or magenta. When the state gives you a driver's license, you as a citizen have a responsibility to stay sober and alert behind the wheel. When police catch you being irresponsible, it is their duty to test your sobriety and escort you from your vehicle. If you are putting other citizens' safety at risk, you deserve to be arrested. How exactly is this racist? The police are just doing their job. If you resist arrest and then try to take a police officer's taser or other weapon, there are going to be consequences, especially in the heat of the moment. Violence just brings more violence.
Leading up to this moment, and why I refuse to accept the narrative that this person is a martyr or should be lifted up in the black community, and that we should be buying t-shirts with his name on it, okay?
So she goes on to talk about how he has several drug offenses, like he's been in jail several times, and also that he held a gun to a pregnant woman's stomach and he robbed her.
I can forgive a drug addict pretty easily, but threatening a pregnant woman with a gun to her stomach is just pure evil. And I do think that says a lot about a person. The media has slammed Candace Owens, but failed to report on that particular part of her video because it doesn't fit the narrative. Dave Chappelle recently had no argument against her, except that her pussy stinks.
I watch everything everybody says. I seen Candace Owens try to convince white America, don't worry about it, he's a criminal anyway. I don't give a fuck what this nigga did. I don't care what this nigga did. I don't care if he personally kicked Candace Owens in her stinky pussy.
Perhaps I am naive, but I do not believe that our country is racist. People all around the world, both in the past and present, flock to the United States for its opportunities. We literally had a war to free slaves. We voted out segregation, and now thousands of people across our great nation are marching in the streets for Black Lives Matter. To say that we and the system are racist is just historically and statistically wrong.